We're live now.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And we hate cameras.
Yeah, sorry about the, well, we still made it here by 6:01. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties there for a minute. So now that we've gotten that all, for some reason our green screen just wasn't cooperating. And
That's right.
I mean the very, very real bar that is not a digital image behind us.
We should probably just make sure that people can hear us before we get too far and explain all the answers to the questions.
Yeah, we killed the browser before we started, so if there's any audio issues, as usual, just let us know. Uncle Skeet, that sounds like a new name in the chat.
No, he's probably had that name for a while.
He probably has had that name for a while, but welcome, Uncle Skeet.
Yeah.
We have, so the purpose of tonight, and we always kind of, before we actually get into the subject, kind of let the chat fill in a little bit.
Sugar Kitty.
Here, Sugar Kitty is in the house. So, but we'll let you guys that are here so far kind of know what's going on. And who knows, maybe nobody else will show up.
Oh, you think that would be the case?
But this will be for the people on the rebroadcast then. Hatfield Barbecue showed up. What's up? Bourbon School is in the house. What's happening?
School.
So we've got 4 bourbons in front of us, and they are all bourbons. We did confirm that.
Yes.
So Greg brought his worst bourbon.
Just a bourbon that I'm not very fond of right now, and a bourbon that I kind of like right now.
Right. Yeah, we decided to do like a best and worst, because I was going to say, now this one, what are we doing today? Drinking bourbon? Yes, we are. Ron is in the house. Mark is in the house, Northwest Bourbon.
Hey, Mark.
Patrick Corrigan. Oh, we get some people filling in here. Troy's here. What's happening?
Troy.
So we're doing a best and worst. I grabbed my absolute worst bourbon that I own.
I don't know what he grabbed in, so I'm a blind the two that.
So right here on the right, we have Greg's worst bourbon and Greg's best bourbon. Then we have my worst and my best. And best is subjective.
Yeah, totally. I mean, mine is a really good bourbon that I've
Yeah.
actually not had in quite a while.
So here's what we're going to do. Let's pull the worst back here for
Okay.
now, because we're going to do the worst bourbons first. Baker Drinks, Laura is here. What's happening? Dr.
He's
Robert,
up.
John Matlick.
Lots of people's.
So here's the way we're going to try to kind of break this down. Is we're gonna do the worst to begin with.
Okay.
We'll sample them each. Then we will blend the worst,
Okay.
and we'll
then
see how
try
that goes.
sample.
Yeah. Then we'll get rid of those. We'll bring in our best. We'll sample those against each other. We'll
Sure.
blend those together.
That's a good solid pour because I kind of over poured on mine, I think.
Yeah, well, here's what I'm thinking. The blend of the 2 best, I'm going to probably want to sit and enjoy that until it's probably down to the minimal. So we'll have an empty Glen then where we can pour out enough of the
Gotcha.
worst one to make a
Okay.
very small blend of the worst and the best
Okay, there you
at
go.
the end.
Okay.
Baba Yaga, what's
we
happening?
Yeah, I should admit, when we were texting about this game, I did say no Texas bourbon.
No,
Or
no
whiskey.
Texas
no,
whiskey.
No, so there's nothing from Texas here.
Yeah, nothing
These
from
are
Texas.
just-
So Ron is talking about Garrison Brothers. Unless you want the worst overpriced bourbon, then you're looking at something from Drum Roll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't want to go with the obvious, so, yep, no Texas stuff in here.
excuse me. So let's get into. So by the way, we were going to do a thing here real quick, just for you watching at home. We're going to show you what's in our glasses, so you guys know.
Okay.
Okay, so Greg, if you turn around for a second, I've got mine in a shoebox over here.
Okay.
So Greg is not looking.
I promise I'm not
And
cheating.
I don't know if this one that's my worst, if you're going to be able to see that or recognize what that actually is. I'm going to keep it here for a couple seconds in case anybody wants to go zoom in on that. I know there's one fella in the chat that may know what this is. So there's that one. That's the worst. And then for my best, I've got this one right here. I'm very much looking forward to when we get into the pour of that. So, okay. They have seen my best and worst.
All right.
That's what she said.
Okay, I'll turn around. I'm not looking.
All right. And I will tell you, if any of you are bourbon fans, you're going to be a little bit surprised at my worst and best.
Is this going to be one of those things where you completely ditch the rules of this?
Nope, I'm following the rules exactly, but I will say that my worst is going to be a bit of a surprise for a lot of people who have seen our channel.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So,
Did you show both of them?
yep.
Okay.
All right, they are back in the bag.
All right. So please don't say what they are in the chat, because we
I absolutely
genuinely don't want to know what we're
Right.
drinking
Yep.
here. So, all right. So let's get into it here. So let's start out with, on the right here, we'll go with Greg's worst.
So Ron,
I am seeing some comments. Brian agrees with you. Ron does not.
no, okay, so Ron, I hear where you're going with this, and I need you to wait till I explain. Then it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay.
Okay.
So give us.
Liz B is in the house, formerly Tennis Gator. Okay, we've had Tennis Gator in the chat before. Welcome. All right. All right, let's get into this. So I'm nervous because I know exactly how bad mine is, and I'm guessing yours cannot possibly be this bad. Is your your mic is clipped on. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm starting with mine, even though I know what it is.
Yeah, we are drinking our own worst, so we're torturing ourselves. On the nose, it comes across as youthy and low proof.
I don't know that. I think it's like mid-90s or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, let's go in for the taste here. Cheers, everybody. Oh, let's get some background music, too, before I forget. I do find that it always helps these streams when we have the background music.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoy, like, when I watch back to see, how if the quality turned out all right, if there's any issues.
Okay.
It's always better with the background music.
Yeah.
I would say, honestly, I don't know if I would consider that bad. It just is very weak.
So when I explain the rest of the story, it's going to be a oh.
Okay.
Okay, so this is not absolutely the worst. This is not a drain cleaner kind of drink. But when I explain what it is, you're going to be like, oh.
Okay.
It should have been better, is ultimately.
Is this like a...
Yeah,
It's got a toasted vibe to it or something. Is this like a Basil Hayden
Brian,
toast
totally
or something?
agree. It's a letdown, and it shouldn't be. So
No, that's definitely higher proof than a Basil Hayden. Well, you said it was in the 90s or something like that.
I believe so. I could check.
Mine, I'm pretty sure, is dead ass 80. I
Okay.
didn't actually check, but I'm pretty sure it is. What's up, Ryan Frank? Yeah, that is... I actually don't mind that. Whatever that is.
Okay, and it's hit or miss for me, but it should be more of a hit because.
Get one...
So yeah, it's not the absolute worst thing I could have imagined, but I couldn't come up with anything.
Okay. Well, this is absolutely terrible.
Okay.
Now, here's a fun fact about this one.
Okay, and I don't think I've ever had this, right?
You have never had this. I have owned this bottle since before we started this channel, and we have never reviewed it, and you've never had it, and you may not even know I own it or what it is.
Well, I mean, if it's not sitting behind your bar, I probably wouldn't.
It is.
Oh,
It's been sitting like on the bottom shelf or underneath the bar the whole time, but it's not a noticeable bottle.
gotcha. Oh wow, I'm getting like real apple, first nosing, I would say is a little bit like malted barley-ish.
Baba Yoga, no, I do not think $200 for Stag is a decent price. George T. Stag or Stag Jr.?
Yeah, either. Like, I mean, there's so many great bourbons.
George T. Stag, I would probably throw 200 at, because that's usually like a $100 bottle. I could maybe, if I walk into a store and see it on the shelf for 200, I'm going to be tempted. I might pay a $100 finder's fee on a bottle that rare.
I don't know.
Interesting you brought up the fruit. The one thing that I noticed about this one when I first had it is
I'm getting Honeycrisp kind of appley notes.
I got melon, like a
Wow.
melon vibe, and I've never got that on any other bourbon really.
Yeah, it's not a
more
bourbon
than
thing.
this.
All right, well, I'm
Yeah, no,
going
I
for
wouldn't
it.
go that for Stag Junior. Oh,
It's just, it like,
it doesn't taste like bourbon.
It-
It almost tastes like flavored whiskey in a weird
yeah,
way.
it's like it hints that like it's gonna get there, and then it just doesn't get there. Like it just doesn't deliver.
You know what this tastes like? Like
Well,
if you
it's-
put a Jolly Rancher in water for like a day, and then you go to
done that.
taste it, and it just tastes like 99% Jolly Rancher, and
Well-
then part like that melon note that I'm getting.
So,
There's
like-
nothing about this that tastes like bourbon.
I don't think it's bourbon-y at all. Like I think
No.
it's more malted barley-like, and I'm gonna insult Sugar Kitty here, no offense, but if you were to tell me this is a Scotch that's a young Scotch, like in a really cold part of Scotland where it really is not aged enough, Like maybe something like that.
This is a 3-year age-stated bourbon
wow.
that you have never had before.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge.
Yeah,
Maybe
well-
you... I don't think so.
But I'm not getting offensive vibes off of it. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be better. Like it needs more age for sure and more proof.
Oh, God, no. I'm offended by that. There's like a sour... Are you not getting that like sour note? It's like a sour melon note that just doesn't belong.
I'm not like. I could see as a bourbon aficionado, you're looking for way more out of a drink. But
Yeah.
this really drinks like a basic $80, like white label, just.
$80?
I'm sorry.
80 proof.
80
I said
proof.
$80, okay.
80 proof bottom shelf mixer that's like $11.99 for a liter.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Maybe it's Crown Royal kind of like. I know you said it's a bourbon, but like I don't hate it, but it's not my style. You know what I mean? But it's
How do you not hate that? That's shocking to me.
like the actual flavor is just meh, which I don't really look for. But I don't hate it. Like we've had some that I genuinely have a flavor profile that I just can't stand.
Yeah, and this
this
isn't
one-
it? Really?
Because of the price and because of the brand,
Oh, you're talking about yours
yeah,
now. Okay.
I'm offended that it's not as good as it should be.
Okay. My worst, there is a level of offense that goes along with this one because
Is
there's
it expensive at all?
no,
Okay.
there's marketing involved here.
Oh.
And not, well, I shouldn't say marketing. Well, okay. Tell you what, should we get to the reveal on these two?
Let's just blend it and then reveal. Let's
Okay,
just get
I got to
there.
drink this one down just a little bit more.
Oh, you just want to enjoy that one because it's better.
Yeah, significantly better.
Yeah, 50-50-ish.
Yep, it's about 50-50.
And I honestly, I was more bothered by my worst one the other day. Like today, it's not. I'm still getting that note that it tastes like cream corn, and I hate cream corn. I like cornbread. I like corn on the cob.
I like getting a good corn note on a bourbon when you get that kind of dusty corn.
But there's a
grainy
particular
note.
flavor in cream corn that I despise. It's one of my least favorite memories as a kid is being forced to eat cream corn. Absolutely hate it.
I was always grossed out by the idea of cream corn, but like cream corn with bacon in it, when I actually tried it, is really good.
Well, I've heard that like.
Or corn pudding. Have you ever had that?
No, never heard of it.
It's
and I'm
like-
disgusted by the.
No, it's like
this table.
cornbread with
I know.
like cream corn with cornbread
Oh,
bacon.
I know,
It's like
I know.
almost
Oh.
like a hot dish.
So
or a
my
casserole
wife
with the
makes
rest of
that,
it.
and I've never had it because like that's
It's really
My
good.
childhood being forced to eat cream corn.
Well, you kind of drink cream corn too in a way.
That has just absolutely ruined me.
All right, so let's get into. Why don't you? Let's get into the blend. Let's try it before we realize what's in it.
It has a lot of those notes that just make a meh kind of whiskey. It doesn't hit great, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the offensive note from my worst one here is not coming through as much. I think your bourbon is definitely covering that up a little bit.
You want to know what it is?
Yeah, I love. There's some mods in here dropping links to other channels, so that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. All right, so this is the big reveal for me. You guys have already seen it. Well, then again, we got more people in here now that don't know what we're doing. So why don't you whip it out?
That's what she said.
And oh, interesting. Okay.
So here's the deal. We have had a bunch of different Old Elks and absolutely love them.
Before Brian's warming up with 1 foot.
That's
talk.
what she said.
That's actually a whiskey for those of you watching. That wasn't an offensive. So we'd have some new people in the chat here. Let's tell them what we're doing just real briefly.
Yep.
So Greg and I decided he's going to pick his worst bourbon and his best bourbon. I'm going to pick my worst bourbon and my best bourbon, and we're comparing them. So right now we just got done drinking our two worst, and we blended them together. We showed the audience before what they were, but now we're just kind of doing the reveal to each other because we don't know what they are.
Right.
So we each brought our best and worst to the table here. And you brought this as your worst because you have been actually telling me for like 2 weeks now how disappointed you were with
Yeah,
this.
so for the last 2 years, we've absolutely loved Old Elk. However, Old Elk sources their whiskey from MGP,
Yep.
and it has been great. And it's turned my opinion of MGP totally around. Like, I actually hunt MGP products now.
I would say that and Doc Swinson's.
Yeah.
And even Stellum. Stellum is doing a great job.
And so, but we knew that Old Elk was going to be distilling and releasing their own juice. This is the first bottle I personally have bought, and I think it really falls off the cliff. Now,
Do we know that this is their own distillate?
It sure seems like it, because it doesn't say anything about, what's that state?
Colorado?
Indiana.
Oh, it doesn't say anything about
Yeah,
Indiana being
right.
in the distillate. Okay.
And it's only 5 years. It used to be, the regular one used to be 6 years from MGP.
What do you think of 5 years?
You would think so, but so I really, that's my best guess, is this is their actual distillate. And I just get youthy type notes. And for a 5-year whiskey, I just,
5 years is,
yeah.
it's on the fence of where I can see it comes across as youthy, but to bring up MGP, like Doc Swinson's has 5-year
88.
MGP juice that's outstanding.
Yeah.
It's 88 proof?
88 proof.
You know what? I bet you the proof is hamstringing it. I
A
bet
little.
you if you even got that up to like a 94 or a 96 or something. I know we tend to always say I want to see it at 100 proof, but I think maybe the the proof is doing that. Baba Yoga, what state are you two in? We are in Minnesota, the Great White North. Well, that's actually Canada from the. Do you remember Strange Brew? Did you ever watch that movie? Oh, they got a map in the part of Canada that just says Great White North. Okay, I'm going to open up the shoebox here, so don't look, because you'll see the other one.
Gotcha.
So here's my worst bottle. Bam. This is Military Special. And the reason I find this so offensive is because this is like a special bourbon that's
it's
only
trying to,
available at the at military bases at the PX.
Yep. Class 6.
And our veterans and troops deserve better. I know they sell other whiskeys there,
Sure,
so you're not just relegated to this, but 80 proof.
I'm sure this is just like Jim Beam cheapest.
It says bottled by Atlantic Distillers Company, Bardstown, Kentucky.
Oh,
Aged 3 years.
who's in Bardstown that does actual distilling?
Well, Bardstown Bourbon Company does
Yeah,
their
but-
own distilling.
But you've had that a while.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, it looks like iced tea in the bottle, to be honest with you. It's kind of odd. It's cloudy.
Yeah, it says it's. I think it says it's non-chill filtered. So here's what it says on the. Oh, it is chill filtered. It says on the side here, made from the finest ingredients, copper distilled, chill
pot still?
filtered. I don't know. Well, they're all copper, even the column stills.
Yeah, I know.
Chill filtered and aged in charred white oak barrels, we believe this rich, smooth flavor will truly impress you.
Yes.
I am not. Let's see. Military Special Bourbon is distilled and bottled in the heart of bourbon country, Nelson County, Kentucky. It's handmade by master craftsmen using a recipe that exposes the spirit of the Revolutionary War. That espouses the spirit of... What the hell does that even mean? That's the weirdest description I've ever read on a bourbon before.
Yeah, if you read bourbon
handmade
bottles.
by master craftsmen using a recipe that espouses the spirit of the Revolutionary War. Okay, well that got weird really quick. So, okay.
Yeah.
I don't really attribute the Revolutionary War in general to being a good thing. I mean,
Well, I think
when
back-
the good guys win, that's always great. But
I think that's when, 1770s is kind of the first whiskeys, some people say, were being invented then in the United States.
Chris Tats is in the house all the way from Australia. Cheers, guys, from down under. Knee surgery went well yesterday and laying in bed, resting comfortably on painkillers, not bourbon, so I can... oh, hold on, now I lost it. Try to see Eddie and Bruce Russell tomorrow here in town at a lunch. Well, that's
Nice.
awesome, Chris. I'm glad your surgery went well. Glad to hear you're feeling good. And sounds like Jimmy and Eddie are in Australia, unless you came to the U.S.
This
for...
is Bruce, not Jimmy.
What?
Bruce.
Bruce Russell.
that's the
Eddie
grandson.
and Bruce Russell. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, they just released that new...
Generations?
It's some new thing where it's like, it's Jimmy, Bruce, and Eddie, and it's like all three of them, but
think
it's
it's
like
called
$500 MSRP.
Yeah, I think it's Generations.
Hey, just a quick side note before we, and maybe this is a topic we can touch on after we get through these. Is anybody just like rolling their eyes now at all these new releases when they come out? It's like Eagle Rare just released a 28-year bourbon. It's like, great, who gives a shit?
Well, I mean, you're
You're never going to see
You're
it.
never
You're never
gonna
going to get a
see
hold
it.
of one
Yeah.
unless you're willing to pay 50 grand for it somewhere.
Yeah, some rich people are gonna
Yeah.
be friends with people at distillery and snag them all.
It's getting to the point where it's just like,
Yeah.
it's not even exciting.
No,
And
I mean, back to the point that someone was asking about Stag earlier. I mean, that's what we do on this channel. Is we found dozens of great bottles in the $50 to $75 range that, I think honestly I'm far happier with than trying to guess, because I've spent a couple $100 on a bottle before. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're only okay.
Yeah.
And they don't justify the price. So
Whiskey Blender Fraley. Oh, hey, Nancy Fraley is here.
what is
What is going on? That's great to have you in the chat.
We should. Well, no. I was gonna say we need to talk about this one, but that's not her.
Okay, it says if it's really cloudy, which it looks like it might be saponification problem and not it looks like flatulation problem here, but I know that's not what it says. I apologize. The monitor is a little ways away, so I'm trying to read these new words that I don't know.
Does it taste like soap? It doesn't taste
Flocculation.
like soap.
No, so the military special, yeah, and it is It is a little bit cloudy. It's not as bad, I suppose, when you hold it up to the light. And we're not expecting a lot out of this at a 3-year,
No,
80
yeah.
proof, $15 for a liter.
Right.
But
I think it mostly has a metallic kind of copper note.
yeah, and it's got
just
like a melon.
Not a very aggressive flavor. It was probably a really light char, and
Yeah,
underperforming trees, and I don't know.
yeah, it's really not great.
Nothing about it is superior.
Nancy, since we have you in the chat here, we did some.
Now everybody's talking to Nancy. They don't even care about us anymore.
Well, hey, that's what I would be doing if I was in the chat too. I just feel very, very just honored and special to have Nancy
absolutely.
watching the live stream right now.
Yeah.
We were actually mentioning on our previous live stream that we actually want to have you on sometime, so we would like to
always invited.
to coordinate that. So we actually, Greg and I are historically not fans of Texas whiskey at all, and Still Austin has really, we loved it. So we finally tried it, and then we got
we
to
had
have,
a friend of the channel send us a couple of bottles of your picks,
and they were excellent.
and they were horrible.
No, they were fantastic. So yeah, the Still Austin. That definitely is maybe come around on Texas whiskey, at least for that particular brand.
Well, that one city,
Yeah.
the rest of Texas is still Texas.
Hey, Willie Nelson is in the house. What's up, buddy?
Do you really think it's him?
Yeah, I know it's him.
It is?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Let's see. Saponification happens if it has a lot of fatty acids and it's watered down too fast. Interesting.
Wow. Oh yeah. So
I'm going to look for that in some other stuff because I've gotten kind of like a bug spray note on
she
certain
was
whiskeys.
explaining that before on another video I was watching, where if you add water slowly, it affects the breakdown of the enzymes, and it changes the flavor profile big time.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
she talks a lot, and not to throw you under the bus, but she talks a lot about adding water is actually the science, or one of the sciences.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah, there's
of
an
really,
art form.
yeah. If you just dump water in it, it's not the right approach.
Bobby Yoga says, I'd really like to know what bottles you guys have been trying to get that is actually attainable. Well, one of them is coming up here, but I would say things that are becoming a little more attainable that weren't before, like if you're a fan of Henry McKenna 10-year single barrel, that's all over the place now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's everywhere, but it's like $60 now.
Okay.
And so I think it sits on shelves because people just don't like to pay $60
In
for a
Minnesota,
bourbon that used to be 30.
We see the Elijah Craig and the Larceny's barrel proofs when they're released. They're not impossible to find.
Yeah, so those ones you got to look a little bit.
A little bit. They're not everywhere,
But they're
a good
attainable
liquor
for
store
sure.
should have them. Yep.
Nancy says, "Wow, glad you enjoyed the Still Austin picks. If you happen to get a hold of the fall version of our bottled and bond bourbon, it's actually over 5 years old. Not the requisite 4 for a bottled and bond. That's awesome. I wonder if we can. Is that going to, Nancy? If you could let us know if that's going to be widely distributed.
Yeah.
Independent Joe is here. That's awesome.
Independent.
Four Leaf Whiskey is here. If we can get some links from some of the mods in the chat to their channels, go subscribe to those awesome channels.
All right, let's get on to our best. And you know what? Since we have so many people who don't know what we're about to drink,
I was going to say the number of people in the chat kind of jumped up here. Hanging AZ is in the house.
So
What's up, Hangin'?
if you want to avert your eyes, I'm going to show the audience what my best. Well, explain
Well,
again.
tell you what, let's tell them what we're doing. Let's drink them and then show them like we did with these.
Well, I want to show the audience real quick.
Okay, so here's what we're doing for the people that just showed up. I brought my worst bottle. Greg brought his worst bottle.
Yeah.
Worst meaning he was very disappointed in it. Not that it was just
Yeah,
an
not the
outright,
worst ever. Yeah.
you know, just the
Yep.
Major G is in the house. He says Wild Turkey 101. I don't know if he was answering
Yeah.
someone's question. And then I brought my worst, which is the military special. Now we also brought our best bottles.
A
which,
really good bottle. not
yeah, I was going to say
best.
best is
Yeah,
subjective
yeah.
because, I mean, how do you pick the best?
Sure.
But really good bottles. So we're going to show you what we're drinking. Now, I don't know what Greg's one is, and he doesn't know what mine is.
Right.
So I'm going to turn around. Greg's going to show you what he brought,
So the one I
just to
brought.
make this a little more fun.
So I wanted to keep the proof down, so I will try to show the audience.
Why in God's name did you want to keep the proof down?
Because it's just more fun that way.
What?
So, and this bottle's almost gone, but it's a really good bottle. It's a single barrel, so
Okay.
It has been hidden away.
All right. I did not go the same direction. Greg, avert your eyes.
Okay, I have reverted.
I went with this bad boy right here. So you see that? Yep. Let me get this back in the box here. Okay. So anyway, the blend of the two bad ones made just a meh.
Yeah, it's just mediocre. But to be honest, there's some flavors I don't love, but there's no flavors I absolutely hate. Like it's not Garrison Brothers. I'll just put it there.
I think Sugar Kitty put in the chat that the military special is actually from Barton, which is surprising.
Yeah.
But I think it's 80 proof in 3 years. I mean, you can take that same bourbon and probably just even don't proof it down, even at the 3 years, and get some much better.
But that's 80 proof in 3 years at the bottom shelf of the Rick House or the top shelf, whatever the worst shelf is in the Rick House.
Yeah, it could be that.
You know,
Danny
and-
Road is here. What's up? We have talked about that. Like, I'm getting to the point with the 80 proof bourbons. When you proof it down that much, it just tastes weird. I don't know. It's not just that it's weak. It's not just that it's thin. I think adding that much water
And that's
to
exactly
the
what
flavor
Nancy
of
is
bourbon
saying,
actually
is
brings out.
You just dump a ton of water into one. And she, on a previous
But even
video,
if-
was talking about you go really slow, and the water does different things with the molecules, and it totally changes how.
like the fatty acid esters and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
So you could proof it down to 80, nice and slow, and it'd be a way better whiskey than just dumping water in.
Okay.
So
Because I've found that all the 80 proof whiskeys that I have now, they just taste off profile. Because it's kind of like if you make Kool-Aid and you don't put enough Kool-Aid and you overwater it, it's just like, it makes it, the flavor is still there, but it's not just that it waters it down, it takes something away from how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Anyway, enough of this blabbing. Let's get into, this is Greg's best, which again, best is subjective. You know, it just means one of our really
it
good
is,
bottles.
yeah, and it is a low proof whiskey, so don't.
William Hall is here. What's happening? Smells good.
Thank you.
By the way, just to let you guys know, over on Bourbon School, Troy and Laura from Baker Drinks are going to be on Bourbon School
No way.
right after we're done. So we'll end at 7 o'clock.
Way.
7 o'clock Minnesota time, so a half hour from now. So as soon as we end, head on over to, I believe it's at Bourbon School. They're doing it on their channel.
Nice.
So you can hang out with Bourbon School and Baker Drinks.
Wait, there's going to be a Troy, a Laura, a Lauren,
And a Brian.
and a Brian.
Yep. All of them.
That's disconcerting.
Well, I'll be in the audience.
I'll be in the audience as well. Eventually, I have to walk home, but
Getting kind of a nice brown sugary note on this one.
it's hard for me to give flavor notes when I know what it is, but that's fine.
Well, when we do reviews, you know what it is, and you give flavor notes. A little bit nutty.
Really?
Yeah, a little nutty. Kind of Heaven Hilly almost. Or Jim Beamy, maybe. I don't know. It smells good. Let's get into it here. Cheers, everybody.
Okay, it's on Bourbon School. Sugar Kitty is the authority. Thank you so much.
That's falling a little flat compared to the nose.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I need another sip of this. Maybe it's after drinking this powerhouse
Yeah,
of a bourbon.
I kind of
That-
feel that.
I mean, it's got. I love the nose on it. It's really good.
The taste is there, but I'll be honest, I've not had this in a good 6 months.
Yeah. Is it falling flat for you too?
Not flat.
It tastes really good.
Perhaps foothills? Maybe rolling hills?
Yeah, that's kind of what. Hey, story time is here, Shane. What's happening? Sorry you missed my first post.
It better be funny if we're going to scroll up.
What was the first post? I didn't see that.
You're
Cheers,
just
Ben
going to have to
Grayson.
scroll up and see.
Well, how long ago was this first post? How far back do we go?
Or you can just tell them to copy and paste it and post it. Current.
Speaking of Storytime Distillery, our review of the original Old Dragon Bones will come out tomorrow.
That's right.
By the way,
or today if you're a Patreon supporter.
yep, it's already out for Patreon folks. I've been releasing the videos a little bit later because I'm off work right now for the next couple weeks, and so I've been like usually I release them when I get up in the morning to go to work, so at like 6 in the morning. But now I've been releasing them at like 10. So
I assume that's just because you're getting up at 10.
yeah, exactly. Or I'm getting up like when you take a little bit of time off of work, like I'm losing track of my days.
Really?
Yeah, it's just weird because I mean,
You know, I've never, well,
anyway, let me get a little more into this one because this does have great flavors, but I feel like there's something holding it back.
I will tell you the proof's not as low as I was hinting at. It is greater than 100.
I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little more than 100, but yeah, I don't know.
So we film a few videos in advance, and then Ben kind of edits them about one in advance, and then make sure they get uploaded the day before or so.
Oh, so I mean like pre-schedule and like just
Oh.
set the time. We've tried to do that.
That was a problem with
Yeah,
one.
what we
tried-
found is because we release the videos a day early on Patreon.
Oh, that's what
And
it
if
was.
they're scheduled, you can't release them early on Patreon.
Oh.
So if we want to schedule them, then we're just kind of screwing over the Patreon folks because obviously people cannot wait for our content to come out.
Oh,
and if
yeah.
we take that one day away from them,
That's right.
you know. And hey, the Patreon folks, they're the ones that are ponying up a little coin here so they get priority. So they get it the day early, and while I have some time off of work here, you guys are going to have to suffer and get it late.
Oh, and just a quick side note. Tomorrow's video is about Old Dragon Bones, which is from Storytime Distillery. I believe as I'm saying these words, there are still the third iteration of the Old Dragon Bones available. However, do not ask for bottle number 6 or bottle number 9. They are spoken for.
That's what she said.
I know it's not a that's what she said necessarily, but it was something dirty, so I mean I had to go with that. Bourbon, no, what would, let me see, what does Chris say? What would make a trip to your part of the world next year as a new ad and make it 30 states? Let's see, hold on a second.
So yeah, Chris takes a trip to the United States I've heard him talk about this before. He's Australian, but he comes to the U.S. for reasons.
So are you asking what would you come to Minnesota for?
I don't know.
Can you clarify that, Chris?
I'm looking to leave. I'm kidding. We have humidity and mosquitoes in the summer. We have snow and ice in the winter.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're looking for. Okay.
Okay.
That's I don't know. I really like this, but I'm feeling like it just feels a little watered down. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. The flavors are great. Everything's there, but for some reason I'm getting like a lower proof.
I am too, to be honest. Like, I remember thinking this was absolutely great, but it's been quite
Is
a while.
this Jim Beam single barrel?
No.
Because it's great. I love it. It is Jim Beam single barrel. Okay, look at that. I hope Nancy's still watching and saw that.
That was very
That was
impressive.
pretty impressive. Yeah, I just feel like all the flavors are great, but for some reason it's just coming across as. I said before I could see it being above 100 proof, but not much. Like maybe. And honestly,
I remember liking it, but this bottle is at the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter. And in Minnesota, teams tend to lose in the fourth quarter. That's a sports thing. I don't watch sports, so I'm just assuming I can.
Apparently, you have not been watching your Minnesota Vikings.
We have a football team?
We do have a football team.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're going to get into. This is really good, by the way. And I actually fully intend to buy a bottle of this. One of the things that kind of hamstrings my bourbon buying is having a channel. Is if I'm going to go spend $50 on a bottle, I kind of want to buy one that
You've not had before.
that I've not had before. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I always want to get the new Knob Creek single barrel, but that's another $60 that I could spend on something else that we haven't reviewed, and so it's kind of a delicate balance. Speaking of which, we do have a Patreon. I always like to whore out our Patreon at the most vulnerable time.
All right, your pick. I'm guessing this is some sort of unicorn kind of like.
It's not a unicorn. I mean, it's you can find it.
You can find it.
You can, yeah.
When the liquor store sold you this bottle, assuming you actually bought this, is this a bottle or a sample bottle?
Bottle.
Okay.
There's a whole shelf of them.
Okay.
There's like 3 boxes of them.
At the liquor store. You didn't
Yep.
buy them. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it wasn't just like a unicorn sitting on the shelf. And if I had found like a unicorn, you'd know about it by now.
I'm just thinking, like, when the owner of that liquor store rang you up, did he think, cha-ching, I just made a boat payment?
Oh, no, I bought this. This is MSRP for this, for sure.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, let's see what we have here. Huh. It smells like tacos.
What in God's name are you talking about?
Tortillas, corn tortillas. Like fresh
Okay,
corn.
that's very different than saying it smells like tacos.
Oh, I really like tortillas.
Yeah, I'm not finding a taco or tortilla note in this at all. Are you messing with me right now?
Yes, I'm totally messing with you, but
Oh.
I do get like a corn kind of note. There's a lot of the traditional. There's a well-aged kind of like, I'm guessing high age on this. Higher age.
Peter White, Minnesota is so famous. Los Angeles named their basketball team for their state. They sure did. Or they just outright bought the team. I like turtles. I like turtles. Did I miss something in the chat where somebody referenced that video? Okay, anyway. On the nose, this is fantastic. Everything about this is amazing.
Bourbon. I think I'm getting traditional notes, and the thing that comes across is high age and probably high proof.
Okay. Let's go in for the taste here.
right.
Cheers. Oaky. Very oaky.
It's well balanced with tons and tons and tons and tons of flavor. Mm-hmm. Way better than mine.
I will give you that. It is way better than yours. Now, this is not Greg's best bottle that he has on his shelf by any stretch of the imagination.
Like I was going for something, I put exactly 4 seconds thought into it, and it shows.
I think your Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 2019 or your George T. Staggs.
I was trying to go low proof, or lower. You know, I didn't want to go 130 something proof because
I went higher proof.
yeah. Is there any chance that you sent?
Oh, I like tacos. I like totos. Okay, I got it. I like it. Brilliant. Oh, that's so good.
Any chance that you bought another bottle of this and sent it to Buffalo, New York?
I might have. I might have. Greg's coming slamming home with the guess here.
Is it the MGM store pick? Or the Total Wine store pick?
I don't have a Total Wine Store pick. It's
Yeah.
a different one.
Oh, isn't it MGM store pick?
No.
Because that's what I have.
So I recently bought another one
Oh.
that I actually texted you and Shane
Yeah,
about to
you
see if
did.
you wanted one.
Oh.
So you know what it is.
Yeah.
He definitely guessed that it was an Old Forester single barrel proof. This is the 1010 Washington pick, 132.8 proof.
Well, wait a minute. So here's what we learned, kids. We don't know crap about low-end crap whiskey, but we both picked the vintage of the high-end bottle.
The vintage of the high-end bottle.
Well, we knew what it was.
Oh, you mean we both guessed it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were on top of that. Absolutely.
I've never picked any whiskey right in my life.
Deliverance music is oddly calming. Only in this setting, though. I like that. It is kind of deliverance-y, I suppose.
Dun, 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 dun. No, it's
If only I
not
had like a
banjo.
squeal like a pig the audio drop here.
Yeah, I'm not going to quote any of the lines. It's been far too long.
Old Pirate Bourbon, what's up? Cheers, Bourbon friends. I don't think Old Pirate Bourbon has been in the chat before. I always like to point out when I see a new name in the chat that we maybe haven't, that seems new to me.
Do you think he's
So
an
cheers,
old pirate?
welcome Old Pirate. No, you know what? I think he has been because I think you asked that same question.
I don't think I asked a question. Oh,
No.
Old Pirate Bourbon, we have to ask you a question here. This is a serious question. Are you from Sacramento?
I lip synced that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see you on the camera.
Maybe you made some other weird joke about somebody's name, which is entirely possible. That I'm confusing with.
Who said
Oh,
what?
yeah, Bourbon School said 1010 Washington pick. So I did send. So I've sent Brian 2 bottles of Old
Oh,
Forester.
I didn't
Single
know
Barrel
that.
Proof.
You
Yeah,
scammer.
yeah, I snagged one
Yeah,
that day
'cause
for him as well.
it was the MGM pick that I bought a bottle of. Leah
Yes.
found it,
Yep.
and that is an exceedingly great bottle.
So I actually did. So I opened this the other night because I kind of
Yep.
figured, as far as doing reviews,
Yeah.
maybe we don't do a review of every single barrel that comes out.
Have you compared this to the MGM?
I did. They're both great. This one has a little more of an oak edge on it
Wow.
that I kind of liked.
Okay.
But they're both fantastic. I mean, there's just no.
Sure.
You can't do any wrong. I would be shocked if you could ever find a bad bottle of this.
So I bought, if anybody knows the inside story, it's kind of funny. We used to have a great liquor store in the town that we live in. But we don't have a great liquor store in the town we live in anymore because of reasons.
Right.
However, I bought 2 bottles. Now, I think only 1 bottle of Old Forester. I have 2 bottles of the Knob Creek store pick.
Okay. That 15-year one?
Yeah. No, it's a different one. Like
Okay.
it's even older than that. But
Oh,
it's
wow.
not. It's
Okay.
not that old. Like it's.
Myron is in the house. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Bourbon Drop. Drop a link for Bourbon Drop. Boom. Nailed that.
But I have a Old Forester store pick, but I think it's like 95 proof.
I had the 90 or 95 proof, something like that.
Yeah. So the old one, like it's 5 or 6 years old, unopened.
Apparently they make 100 proof single barrels, which I didn't even know until we did that.
Yeah.
We had a covert meeting with some other channels the other night.
Oh wow.
But yeah, these are. I mean, I'm kind of
ready to be
optimistic
blendy?
that these are maybe showing up a little bit more.
At least
Because
in Minnesota.
the MGM showed up, and
Yep.
then this one showed up.
Total Wine has had it a time or two. I see it on Facebook and so on.
Okay, so hold on. Before we blend these, because... Okay, so these are about... I'm going to try each one of them independently again real quick. Now, I know it's not really fair to... my dream bottles are Jack 10 and 12 year.
So, luckily enough, I was able to get a tip that a store that was kind of out in the middle of nowhere had the Jack 10 and 12 on the shelf. I was busy, like working. My wife had nothing going on. She said, I'll go get them. She drove like an hour west of us, out small town. They were there for $60 and $70 or whatever the price was. So we did
Something like that.
we did a review
70,
of them.
80, I don't know. Yeah, something
Whatever
like
it was.
that.
Yep. We did a review of them. The 10 was better. It honestly was.
Well, so I think we came to like the 10 was sweeter,
Yes.
and the 12 was a little oakier and a little more aggressive. Higher
Aggressive.
proof.
Yep.
It's 107 proof. So I think what we came to is that each one was kind of good for a certain bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
You know, but they're pretty good. I mean, I've got a bottle of the Jack 10 as well. We each have a bottle of the Batch 2, and it's good. I don't know if it's like unicorn. Like, I wouldn't pay any more than
What are you talking about?
the Jack 10. I don't know that I would pay any more than just the standard retail for
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Right.
It's not. It's really good, but it's just there's plenty of bottles that.
Hopefully, wherever you're at, you see the Jack Daniel's single barrel proofs
Oh yeah, those
in the
are leaps and
125
bounds
to
better.
135.
Yeah.
Those are gold, and literally the label
And that's
is gold.
if you like high proof stuff.
Yeah.
So Baba Yoga. Am I saying that right? By the way,
It's impossible.
It looks like Baba Yoga. Baba Yaga. Is that an A or an O? I can't tell from
It's
here.
an A.
The monitor's like
There's
6
4
feet
A's.
away. Okay, so it's a Baba Yaga. Okay.
2 A's, a Y, and a G.
Hey, let us know in the chat if you like high proof stuff. If you've had the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Now I know that's not available everywhere,
Well,
but those are
so Bourbon
Amazing.
School, that's interesting. We've noticed that they've really dropped in proof over the last year.
mid 120s.
Mid 120s is
Yeah.
pretty typical. And so what's cool is when I go to Total Wine especially, they sell them in 375s, which are 60% of the price of the big one. But
Well, Total Wine for a while was selling those for $25,
yeah, it's gone up.
and now it went up to 30,
Yeah.
which is still a great deal.
It is.
So you could buy
But
two
they
of those.
travel really well. They fit in your suitcase. If you're just going for an overnight weekend kind of thing,
Sure.
take one of those 375s. And sometimes the proof on those is the 133s or 135s. Some of those barrels are amazing.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's proof time, or it's blend time.
So, hold on a second. I agree with Greg at the bourbon note. Thought 10 was better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had kind of said,
They're
again,
both good, but the one was a little woody.
That's what she said.
You could have gone with Toy Story there, honestly. You really could have.
let's see. Storytime says Old Forester Single Barrel 100 kills the barrel strength. What?
Wait,
And that's from Shane.
Oh,
Shane's not afraid of a
what's OSB?
High proof. Old
Forester
Forester Single Barrel, I'm assuming.
100.
Kills the barrel strength. That's shocking to me.
What are you talking
Because
about?
I just drank 147 and some change proof whiskey from Shane
Yeah,
that's coming out tomorrow. So we know he doesn't shy away from the barrel proof stuff.
yeah.
That's interesting that he thinks the.
wonder what-
We've never had the 100 proof single barrel, so.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
I have two bottles of this. Baba Yaga says
Sugar Kitty is playing, that game? show?
EFP, TOZ,
No,
LP.
no, he's got dots. Like, you got to fill in the blank, like that Wheel of Fortune.
No, it's from. Oh, God, that's from a movie. EFP. I know, like, the charts that you read a lot of times start out with that.
All I know is that one.
And I think, did they always start out with EFP, TOZ, or is that just a movie I'm thinking of?
I have no idea what you're talking
Where
about.
somebody does that thing and. Oh, what is that from? That's from something, Sugar Kitty.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Hey, we got to blend this. Let's.
All right, yeah, we do, because we got 12 minutes left before Bourbon School goes live with Baker Drinks. So, anyway, so Baba Yaga says I have 2 bottles of the single barrel proof and 3 bottles of the single barrel proof rye on my shelf
There
right now.
you
Those
go.
single barrel proof ryes are great.
Yeah. We had actually, I think it was Baker Drinks that sent us a sample.
Yeah,
And
it was amazing. Okay, so we've tried the blend of the bad ones. Now we're blending the good ones.
And they're both really good, but to be honest, I probably should have picked a better good one.
You have better bottles on your shelf.
I do, but I didn't want to go with the obvious. I was trying to stay low proof. That was my goal. Actually, I just thought of another really low proof that could have been maybe even better.
Which was that?
Four Roses Single Barrel or Small Batch Select at 104 proof. I want to compare that to this now.
Yeah, that'd be a good comparison. Sorry I had to step away for a little while. At any rate, can't wait to hear how your blends turn out.
Okay,
Well,
this is a blend of a Jim Beam product and a
Old Forester single barrel proof.
at a little bit higher proof.
Yeah. So Nancy, whenever we do a review or a live stream that involves more than one bourbon, we always blend equal parts at the end.
And it's called the Benny Walker Special.
It is. It's the Benny Walker Special.
But more importantly, this is the first video ever in the history of humanity
Okay.
where Ben correctly guessed exactly the right bottle and Greg picked exactly the right bottle.
Yeah, that's true. We did call those out. So here's what we got to do, though. So we blended the worst, our lower two. We blended our best two.
Yes.
Now what we've got to do is we got to sample the blend of the best two.
Yep.
And then we got to blend the two of them together, which is,
Which is
I know,
an abomination.
it's a sacrilege.
We know.
wow, that's actually really good. That
So
Jim Beam nuttiness
It
really
really
is coming
brings
through.
like a graham cracker note. It's really high proof and gets a nice spice, but the spice goes away in a real nice hurry.
Benny Walker special, Nancy. That could just be a typo.
No, it's
Now we have to change it to the Betty Walker special. There isn't the Betty Walker that I know of. Do I have any relatives named Betty? I don't think so. That's actually a pretty good blend.
it is really a nice blend.
So Nancy, the other thing, since you're a master blender,
Okay, so this is 108 proof and 132, so 240.8 proof.
Yep, that's exactly how math works when blending. I actually
240.8, that's pretty high proof. It's a good thing
Yeah.
I have to walk home, not drive.
It is.
I live literally across the street.
well now we'll bring the proof, even a little bit
We're gonna
higher
bring,
with,
well, a little bit higher.
with those. So
80 and 88.
So for anybody in the chat who's interested, on our Patreon, I actually do a blending video about once a week. I try to do them once a week. I've been a little busy the last couple
Yeah,
of weeks.
explain
but-
what you do there.
So I get the randomizer wheel and I put the Betty White special, Golden Girls. Yeah, there we go. So what I do for those videos is I put
He's more of a room at Clanahan kind of person.
I put 2, 3, and 4, spin the wheel, find out how many bourbons I'm going to blend,
Yes.
and then I upload my entire
How come
bourbon.
you don't put one?
Well, because that wouldn't make any sense. Interestingly enough, the first time I ever did that, I did put a 1 on the wheel, and I was like, what am I doing? And then anyway, so then I upload my entire bourbon collection into the randomizer, and I pick X amount of bourbon.
And so you get this list and you got to blend them.
And then I blend them just equal parts.
and then you do 50, 50, 50, 50 blend.
50% this, 50% this, 50% this, 50% this.
Yeah.
Because again, that's how math works when you're blending.
You know, it's funnier if you don't explain it.
I think it's hilarious when I explain it. All right,
You
so
know, this
now,
this blend at 240.8 is pretty good, actually.
yeah, well, the 240.8 is starting to show. So let's, we did the unthinkable.
The unthinkable.
So now this is about 50, 50, 50, 50.
So my favorite
Hey,
part.
Bobby is in the house.
If anybody's still watching, my favorite part of every time we do the end of videos is this blend, because you cannot convince me there's a person on in the history of the world on this planet
That's
who's
ever had this.
blended these 4 whiskeys as a 50, 50, 50.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever had this blend ever. And there's probably no reason to have
And
this
judging
blend.
by the smell, nobody should.
It's probably not going to
Just
be
because
great.
I know that there's some great whiskeys in here, and see, that's why I call out, and that's the reason Nancy it's 20 by 20. Yeah, I know that's kind of our ongoing joke on this channel is we like to upset the math people in the audience. We're like, yeah, it's 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%. As long as they're equal parts.
You know, the reality is we've been doing the episodes for 3 years, 400 episodes at least.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever actually corrected us.
Yeah, but she's a professional whiskey
Well,
blender,
she is.
so.
Yeah, I respect.
And if we
the,
blend 300 proof whiskeys, we always go, that's a 300 proof blend right there. That's how it
Exactly.
works. 50 sounds sexier than 25. I agree, Myron, for sure.
I was thinking he was talking about age.
Honestly, I would agree. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Wow, it's amazing how much these two killed. At least this one, because the proof
Really?
on this is coming across low. Dalen Robbins is in the house. Cheers. Good evening. Good evening to you.
Oh man, I'm getting that weird coppery note. It's like you're sitting on the top of a barn, and I don't know. It's raining, and you've made some bad life choices, and there's nothing good about this at all. This is
Boy, there's a lot to unpack there.
yeah, this is ruining everything.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it definitely is.
And
is ruining everything.
I'd blame this one too.
Nancy says, "I'm just ribbing you." I know what your meaning is. Yeah, it's good times. So, on the most recent blending video, I don't know if you watched it. You don't watch our videos, right? So, on the most recent blending video, let me look this up because it was actually a really, really good one.
Thanks for warning us.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
But I did see Nancy was in Tennessee, but she's probably not in Tennessee anymore.
My earpiece fell out. So here was my last blend. It was a 4 bourbon blend.
Oh, that's right. You had a weird blend.
Yeah, it was good. Larceny Barrel Proof A122.
Okay.
Maker's Mark single barrel. It was a private
Sure.
select from a local store.
Okay.
Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, 130.9 proof.
Wow.
And the Port Night. Oh. And that was a freaking amazing blend.
That was...
Yeah.
I probably should have watched that episode.
Yeah.
You should probably watch that episode.
It's on Patreon. All right, so listen, here we go. We've got 4 minutes left. Let's just stick around right until the end so they can just hop directly over.
That's a good idea.
But Bourbon School is going live, and they're going to have Troy and Laura from Baker Drinks on. Nancy, if you're still in the chat, we'd love to have you on sometime. If you want to email us, it's thebourbonnote@gmail.com. We'd absolutely love to have you on.
We promise to
an
spend
episode.
the entire time making fun of Bobby if you're okay with it.
Yes, for sure. Just making fun of Bad Axe Bourbon. That's all we do here.
Yeah, that is all we do here.
And then in the last couple of minutes, if we could get everybody, I see they're doing it, dropping some links here. So Sugar Kitty's got the link to the live stream. If we could drop links to Bad Axe Bourbon, Independent Joe, Bourbon Drop, Baker Drinks, Bourbon School, all the
you
other
already said
whiskey
drop.
channels that are watching.
Baker Drinks.
Who else was here tonight?
I didn't see Jill.
And even the ones that aren't here tonight. If we've got time to get some links.
Mediocre whiskey reviews. Whiskey blender Fraley. I don't know if she ever releases videos. I follow her on Instagram. That's where I see her travels.
Yeah, she doesn't put. I was trying to find her on Instagram.
I think that's where I follow her.
Okay. So yes, I'd love to be on and very happy to make fun of Bobby too. Absolutely. All right, good deal. Now we know that'll work. Don't forget
Four
4-Leaf
Leaf.
Whiskey. Yes, thank you.
Stacy.
Thank you, Laura. 4-Leaf Whiskey was on tonight, so drop a link for that. So yeah, these last 3 minutes, if the mods could just spend that dropping links, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you guys all for joining us tonight. This has been a fun one. This was kind of like an interesting...
So Ben was actually kind of interrupted this weekend, so we were going to invite some people from another channel on and do the whiskey trivia night.
Yep.
You couldn't commit.
Yeah, I
March-
didn't know for sure if I was going to be here tonight. I didn't want to cancel on a
So then
guest.
he texted me and said, hey, like, we can go live, but I don't have anybody scheduled. What do you want to do? And I just came up, well, how about our best and worst?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Turned out we're going to trade bottles, and it works out way better
You
for me
had your
than
chance.
you.
I was at the store and I sent you a text. I was like, do you want one? There's no limit.
There's no limit.
Sorry, I just burped a little bit. Excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. I like bourbon a lot. What's happening is in the chat. My favorite blend is equal parts Stag Junior, 22B, Frey Ranch, single barrel proof.
Frey Ranch. That's the
ECBP
California.
B523 and Larceny B523. Wow.
Wait, you're a blender?
That's an interesting blend. I have 2 of those.
No, wait. He seriously, are you like? Do you totally blend all the time? And I'm not trying to be gross here. Do you actually blend? Because most people don't ever like. We're blending one just because we have to.
I'm not trying to be gross. But...
No, like,
we have 1 minute.
Okay, I'm curious. Like, I've never heard of other people just in their like.
Baba Yaga just subscribed. Was that to
Thank you
the
so much.
Patreon?
No, just subscribe to YouTube.
Well, either way, thank you very
Thank you so much for support.
That's awesome. All right, well,
Frey
listen
Ranch is
here.
Nevada. Okay, got it.
We are going to kill it.
Remember, Bourbon School is about to be live. Bourbon
Yep.
School on the YouTube.
And so here is, I think the link is up here somewhere, right here. So here's the link to Bourbon School's live stream with Baker Drinks. So please
Excellent
go
channel.
check them out.
Go check
Yes.
them out. And until next time, see you next time.